Alright guys, well, this is Charlie. I am coming to talk to you today about my John Deere 45 combine. It's currently at a junkyard. I'm just going to make a quick circle here and tell what little bit I know about it, and if I do mess up, please correct me. This would be about a 1960 to 1965 model 45 high-low combine. Sorry about that. The sun's kind of in the way. Let me see if I can get out of the sunlight here. It's about, oops, through there. Dang, well, this is about as good of a view as I think I'm going to be able to get you at the moment. As far as I can tell, this is not a quick attach header. It is a round back, so that means, well, this is one of the, from what I understand anyway, this is one of the earlier versions of the high-low. They called it the high-low because that operator's platform there was, as far as I know, in the same places with the old ones were. But if you can see up there above the grain tank, normally there'd be an auger that would come up and then dump the grain from up high down into the grain tank. On this one, there is an auger that comes straight into the side of the grain tank, which I'll show you in just a bit. If I understand right, that's a 25-gallon fuel tank, I believe. See, this indeed has the straw chopper attachment instead of the straw spreader. Of the ones I've seen on YouTube, a lot of them have had this straw spreader. I believe I can't say this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that this has the narrow rear axle. Gosh, can't really see up in here any, but there are, if you can see, simply 3 walkers. Now, a lot of the other Deere combines from the year when I worked at a Deere dealership, out of the 3 walker machines I happened to see and think to look up inside, if I remember anywhere, there was anywhere from 4 to 6 rather large straw walkers in there. These are 3 very small ones, so this kind of symbolizes, if anything, the rather small amount that these machines were made to do. This is a 10-foot cut, by the way. I do remember that, and I better say that now. Right there is the radiator screen, which would be flipped, if you can see, it'd be flipped up above the engine so that it would be sitting up there like that, and it'd be sticking out way above that homemade grain tank extension. Right there you can see where it's got that auger that comes up and goes into the grain tank there. Normally there'd be an auger, well, sorry, that's an elevator. There'd be an elevator that would come all the way up, maybe it's an auger on the older ones, up to about where the end of my finger is, and then it would dump it down into the grain tank. And that was so, should you so desire, you could put the scour clean option on there at the time, or if not, it would just go into there. They also made a sacking variant of these. I have yet to see one, but they are pretty cool from what I understand and what I have seen in the owner's manual I have. That tire there, I don't really have anything to reference it to, but that tire is actually smaller than the rear wheels on a lot of today's new combines. Let's see, you've got from there on up and into there would be your tailings elevator. I keep wanting to call these augers. This here is, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this lever is for the header height, and then there's the gear shift. Got the brakes, and those levers have to do with the, unless I miss my guess, I could very easily be wrong, they have to do with the speed control, and there's not, surprisingly you would think that one of those would be throttle and the other one would be to engage a separator or something, but actually the throttle and choke are these 2 white balls right there and right there. If I'm right, the choke, gosh, I want to say the choke is this one up there, and the throttle is this one here, but I could very easily have that. No. Okay, I do have that backwards. The one that is angled, comes out at an angle and it goes way up, is the throttle. The other one is simply the choke. See, it has a somewhere in the vicinity of a 40, 42, 45 bushel grain tank. Somewhere in there. I don't know if it has a 45, and that's why it was called the 45. That could very easily be. I will have to do more research on that in the future. And man, look at that. Real simple, isn't it? The chains, driving sprockets, driving other sprockets, which drive the reel. It goes from there on down, and that comes from this belt, which then goes down to that shaft, which goes over to there. This right here is a really neat little, this was actually an extra that you're looking at right there. That was so that, if, again, I might be wrong on this, but from what I've seen, this was so that I could set it all the way down and pull it back, and this head would float on the ground. And it was not actually officially attached to those cylinders, from what I understand. But man, look at this. You got wood that's still being used, or was still used, I should say. And then chains that are probably rusted. I'm probably gonna have to replace those. And then that would come. Oh, geez, cobweb. This arm here would come down and drive this, which would then drive the knives. By the way, you guys might not, for my friends on the Combine forum, you probably have seen my thread and all my posts and kind of know exactly what I intend to do with this Combine. But for those of you who don't know, I plan simply on fixing it up, making it pretty. It's not going to take a lot. It's going to take more than I wish it would take, but then again, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? Here's the green tank. It's a little bit warm from all the heat today. It looks in rather good condition, actually. We got some paint peeling, but there's not, as far as I can tell, any rust holes. I'll probably find those when I get the thing home. That's funny. Oh, I see, it is there. There is, or was, another piece of this auger that would be down here, and it would move the grain all the way across. I don't know where that is. I'll probably have to find one of those in the salvage yard somewhere. Got some more levers here. I believe one of these is for the separator and the other's for the platform, or one's unloading auger. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out later. The funny thing is, somewhere in here there was an hour meter, and I have yet to find it. So, if I am simply missing it, I'm not missing it, but simply not seeing it, and you see it in my video, please let me know. Because I have looked where I thought the manual said it would be, and I have not yet seen it. So, it's not really that big of a deal. I'll get by without it. But I will eventually get a new one and, put it in there and whatnot. But it would still be nice to know how many hours this thing has on it, because it wasn't really abused. Yeah, it's got these lights here, which you could argue are cool and would help, but I am kind of a purist nut, I guess you could say. If I'm going to do something, I tend to try to do it right. Now, I might get to the point where, heck with it, I'll just, slap some paint on it and call it good and make it look as good as I can, but I tend to try to do it right as much as I can. Let's see, unloading auger. I don't exactly know much about it. Other than that, it's got, then again, I don't really need to know much, I guess, but if you can kind of see, there's these dents and whatnot, and it's got this homemade support for it, which is probably a good thing. But again, I want to get back to original, so I'm going to need a new spout for the end there, probably a new unloading auger case at the very least. Not gear case, but sheet metal, sheet tube, I guess you could say. It's got the John Deere 1450 engine in it. You can't really see it because I've got it all tarped off so the rain doesn't get in it, and I really don't want to worry about getting my tarp off there. I better get rid of that water. The radiator cover is collecting water. And there's only 3 steps to get up on the back of it, and I mean, these are my size 13 boots, so you can see as to how wide this thing is. And then there's, 25, 20 gallon fuel tank. It's somewhere in there. I really like this old thing, I really think it's going to be cool when I get it all done. Please, encouragement and criticisms are greatly appreciated. All kinds. I wish, though, that you wouldn't just be like, man, you're a stupid idiot for doing this, yada, yada, yada. Use your money for something else. Because, to be honest, everybody does tractors. I want to be the guy that's different and do a combine. So if you would please, and thank you, refrain from doing that kind of criticism and stick to constructive criticism, like, okay, here's what you're doing, here's what you should check or look into or think about doing. I would more than greatly appreciate it, and thank you. And I have to get some new screens for the cleaning fans, as you can see, but the belts all seem to be in decent shape. The chains, I might have to replace some of them, but again, they look to be in decent shape. I don't really think this combine needs a lot as far as actual to get it to be able to thresh grain again, because to be honest, it was being used not much more than a year or two ago by a guy that I know through my grandfather. He milks for my grandfather on his dairy farm, and this guy, well, he basically, he was the 8th owner, and he got it from a guy and got it working decent, took it out in his field and used it for his bean crop. And I guess from what I understand, from what my uncle tells me, because they helped him, it didn't produce a very clean grain sample. But keep in mind, this was a combine made about 1960. So it's about 53 years old, 50 years old, give or take a couple years anyway.